Yesterday I had XMR Mafia hit me up on Instagram and he said, "Hey, can you edit a couple photos for me? Can I pay you to do this?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to take your money, brother, but I'll play around with a couple of your photos because I really like the look of his bike." And it was something that I had said that I would do for a long time, is take photo entries from people and edit them and just kind of see what it would look like if I had my eyes on it, and what I would do if I was editing these photos. So we'll jump right into it. He sent 3 photos over to me. And of the 3, I would probably say that this one has the most potential to be a cool photo. One of the things that I'd probably do right out of the gate is widen it so there's a little bit more space on either side. So that's going to be a little bit difficult because he's got these power lines going by, but I don't think it'll be too bad. So I'm going to, here's what I'm going to do. I'll jump right in here. We'll open this up in Photoshop. You can see some of my clients over here. Check that out. Okay. So yeah, first things first, I'm going to duplicate the layer, go into my crop tool, and let's expand this puppy out. So I'm going to try and see if I can't do a couple tricks to widen this thing. Let's see if this works. Yeah, it's not too bad. And then I'll try it over on this side. Let's see. Even if I just get out a little bit. Yeah, those power lines are definitely cause some problems here. So anyway, you can see that those power lines ended up duplicating around. Maybe the best way to do it actually be to just get rid of them, but that might be the easiest thing to do here. Let's see. Maybe I will. Just get rid of these things. Why not? So I'm using this thing in Photoshop called the patch tool. And obviously you guys won't have access to these things because you're probably not using Photoshop. You're just editing these things on your phone. So obviously I've got the upper hand on y'all because I have all these powerful tools at my disposal to work on stuff like this. But it's what I do for a living, so I've got that excuse too. So get in here, just going to clean these up. I wasn't originally going to take these power lines out, but it'll make it a lot easier to get this photo wider, and you'll see why I'm going to do that in a minute. There we go. You'd be none the wiser. None the wiser that there was power lines back there. Then I'll get rid of some of these little repeating trees from when I duplicated that stuff around. Get rid of these. You don't want the human eye picking up on any patterns that you created when you were messing with the photos, so go like this and just kind of duplicate some of those trees over that way. This isn't going to be a perfect job because this is for Instagram. I'm not getting paid to do this right now, so you know what's up. Okay, this is the most boring part of this, I promise. No one likes spending their time masking. It's boring. But there's definitely an art to it for sure. Okay, so we got that thing widened out a little bit. You know what else is probably going to bug me? Let me fix this up a little bit too. Like this. Let's see if I can get lucky and just do it like that. No, of course not. So basically what I'm going to do is just bring that down. You guys are getting to see how much work I actually spend doing these photos. If you're going to get a banger, it takes a little bit of work. Unless you have a real eye for it. Like, these are the things that I would probably avoid shooting with, like, a bunch of trees kind of bumping up against my four-wheeler. Like, if it were me, I'd probably move the bike around or shoot it at a lower angle to kind of avoid all this mess, but to each their own. So basically what I'm doing is I'm just nudging some of this sky right up along the edge of his bike. And these are just the small little details, but it'll really help his four-wheeler stand out from the background, which is really what we're trying to do. I mean, a photo like this, you're really trying to show off how dope your bike looks with a little hint of the setting. And right now, like, you can kind of see, if I go back to the original photo here, you will see, look at all that stuff that was around it. Now we've got it kind of cleaned up, so his bike is really the focal point. There, and why not? I'll expand that out a little bit on that side too. Pull it out just a little bit further. There. Like I said, I'm not doing a perfect job here, but you get the point. Again, just getting rid of some of those little patterns that we created. Making sure there's nothing duplicates too many times. Okay, there. So, I'll screenshot this just so we have that reference for the original photo later, because I'm about to save over here. So it updates in my Lightroom for me. Boom, there we go. Okay, so that should update over here now, hopefully. Please. Oh my god, of course not. There we go. Oh, you're kidding me. Why is it going to do that now? There we go. There's what we're looking for. Weird, look at that. It keeps on stretching the photo whenever I go to edit it. Okay, we're going to close Lightroom and reopen it. Just hold on, good people. Okay. There we go. Now we're working with something. Okay, so really what I'm probably going to look at doing here is kind of like burning the edges of this, really trying to draw your eye into the focal point, which is the machine, and I'll get in here and fix some of these trees up and stuff a little later on, but let's get into this and play around a little. So out of the gate, I'm probably going to, I've got all these different presets, and these things will kind of get you like half of the way there. I really like the look of that. It kind of like oranges up the reds a little bit, you know, kind of like mute some of those colors that you're seeing down. Sorry, it adds a little bit of color down in those muted colors down on the bottom, down that dead grass, and then kind of, you know, just punches up the contrast of the bike a little bit. It's a nice look. So what are we going to do now? Let's see. Maybe add a little bit of clarity, and then if you go in and dehaze, you're going to get more sky. It's going to pull that sky back. So we want that sky to almost just disappear a little bit with the edit that we're doing. Maybe bring the shadows up a tiny little bit. No, we don't want that photo being any more yellow. Maybe punch the green a touch. And then we'll vignette this puppy a little bit. Bring that in. And again, what that's doing is that's just kind of drawing your eye in a little bit more to the machine. But you don't want to do it too much or it starts looking weird. Like you'll see some guys out there that edit like that. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to... You'll hear me say this a few times. I'm really trying to draw your eye into the four-wheeler. So you've got all this dead space down here, all this grass that's really like not adding anything to the value of this photo. So I'm going to put that gradient there, and then I'm going to lower the exposure on that, which is going to get rid of that all that grass down there and just draw your eye right up to it. So you can still tell that there's grass down there, but it's not, you know, it's not a focal point of the photo anymore. So we just want to get rid of all that busyness. Okay, and that's already looking a lot better. What else will we do here? I'm actually going to bring that clarity down a little. I don't like, some guys will go for that and it adds like a whole bunch of grit to it. I'm not really into that look, although it does look kind of cool, but I'd probably actually bring that clarity down a little bit. Haven't seen what this photo's doing now. Okay, so another thing that I like to do, will I do it with this photo? Let's see. Let's play around with this a little bit. Why not? Why not? Why wouldn't we do this? Bring the highlights up a little bit. There we go. Now we're talking. I'm going to export this puppy now. Put that on the desktop. Now I've got it back open in Photoshop again, and I see there's a couple little weird things going on. There's this little pattern in the grass that I don't like, so I'm going to get rid of that. Oh, that's doing weird stuff. Let's see. Okay. And then those trees look super weird over there. That's way too straight of a line, so let's see if we have any luck doing something like that. Nope. There we go, just break up that pattern over there. Okay, so then another thing I do sometimes, I'll actually cut the machine out. So Photoshop has this cool little tool called Select Subject, and it actually does a really good job of grabbing your subject matter. And then what we're going to do is just kind of clean that edge up a little bit. Make sure I have just the machine. We'll get rid of that in there. And we'll add this in. This is an extra step that I do on a lot of my photos because I like really drawing that distinction between my machine and the background. This might be considered overkill to some people, but I really like doing it. It's my own little touch that I do. So yeah, we're basically going to pull that background out of every little piece of the photo. Oops. Okay. Okay, there we go. And you can see we're going to mask that. So now what I have is basically like a pretty much a perfect crop of the bike. And I'm going to put that layer above everything else. And then in between those two layers, so you can see I've got the background and then the cutout bike. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make an extra layer. I'm going to sample the color from one of the lightest spots in the sky. And what I'm going to do is just put a little blast of that color behind the machine. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm basically just putting a blast of color right in behind it. And then I'll kind of stretch that out a little bit. You can see we've got some issues going on down here. I'll have to fix that little bit of the mask. And then I'll lower the opacity on it. And I will mask it a bit so that you don't really see it on the ground down there, because that's not really the intent with this. We don't want to see it on the ground. We're basically just pulling the machine out from the sky. So you can see if I turn that layer off now, it'll probably be more obvious if I do it at 100%. Actually, that doesn't even look too bad at 100%. Gotta lower it down to about 70. And then I'll go up to the very top, add one more layer up above. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll just, again, sample that brightest color and almost just like add like a little bit of light leaks in around the four-wheeler a little. It kind of adds this bit of a magical tone to it. And then I'll lower the opacity on that, like maybe down to like a 40 or 50%. And there you have it. I think we're got a pretty nice looking photo here now. And you know, maybe I'll add a little lens flare on top of the halos. I usually do that too. So I go over. I've got a little bundle of assets that I have in my hero folder here, and I'll usually put a little punch of color up above the halos. But sometimes you can do it overkill. So you just go in and set that to screen. I will make it a little smaller. Change the hue on that to match the bike, so I'll put like a little red flare on there. Punch the contrast up on it, and it's just like a little something, little hero sign off right there with that little bit of a flare. Maybe rotate it around. How's it look on a 90 going up and down? Maybe try a little box out of it. Booyah. Ah, whoops. Sometimes you can even actually duplicate that thing too. Bring the saturation down and actually turn that into like a little shine mark on the wheels or something like that. It might be overkill, but we'll see. There's those little details. It's a small little thing, but just adds like that little sparkle back there on the wheel. So yeah, it's the first time I've ever done something like this. So if I sound like a complete goon while I'm editing, this is, like I said, nothing I've ever done before. But I think maybe I will make a little series out of something like this. I like doing it. I really like editing people's photos. I just don't really ever get the time to do it. There. I'll add a little bit more of a shading around the bottom, and there you have it. Got the edit. The edit's all done. Flatten that down, and we'll bring the original photo back in just for reference. There you go. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. There you go, XMR Mafia. You got yourself a tasty looking photo, buddy. Post it up, tag Hero. There you go, my man. Peace.